Welcome, happy Tuesday, and happy fall season. My name is Marshall. I'm the facilitator of the Experience More Tour, and we are here tonight to talk with Chris Curtis from Mountain Hardwear. Chris is a product line manager at Mountain Hardwear. Chris, you cover a lot of categories. I'll let you talk about what they all are in case I get them
Yeah.
wrong.
Okay.
But we're super honored that you join us tonight to chat gear for the next half hour. Welcome.
My pleasure. I love the chat gear. That's why it's, part of my job. Um, so I head up product line management here at Mountain Hardware for most of the more technical categories. So our outerwear program, our snow sports program, our gloves, and then our equipment. Um, and Yeah, I've been doing it. I've been here for 3.5 years. I'm a boomerang. I was actually here back in the late 90s
Oh,
at Mountain
cool.
Hardware. And it's fantastic. I get to work with our design team, our development team, our athletes, great retailers, great uh, brand partners like GORE-TEX. And I get to play with product every day. So I can't complain.
So you're taking all these inputs from athletes, from retailers, from
Hmm.
every even from Gore, right? And you're taking all
Yeah.
these inputs and kind of meshing them together. How large is your team at Mount Hardware that brings products to market?
Oh gosh, we are in the entire product creation for the categories that I cover. We're probably 17 people, I think,
Wow.
something like that. Yeah, it's a fair amount. That's covering materials, research and development, design, product line managers. Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's a big team to kind of manage and keep all together and make awesome products. And I want to explore a bit about what those awesome products are tonight. Before we dive into that exactly, right? Can you just give us a little bit sort of about Mount Hardware? Like where do you see yourself? Like what do y'all do that's exemplary at Mount Hardware?
Um, yeah, so at Mountain Hardware, we really pride ourselves on uh, trustworthy gear, gear that really is going to be focused on durability and lasting the test of time.
Okay.
The vision of the brand is to be the most trustworthy gear and apparel makers that empower people, more people to go play in the outdoors. And the words that I really focus on there are trustworthy and empower. If you if you can trust your gear, if you know it's going to do what you want it to do, what it's made to do, then you are going to feel more empowered. You're going to go try new things. You're going to be comfortable, out there playing, maybe doing something you've never done before. So that's really where we try and keep our focus. And with a lifetime warranty on all of the products, if something does go wrong, even if it's, user error, which does happen out there sometimes, a little too close to the fire sometimes or something, uh, we've got a full team of warranty seamstresses and warranty repair folks here in the office in California that can fix it all.
No, I love that. You have like this in-house ability to make our gear refreshed and give it back to us, right? Whether it's
Mhm.
a warranty or whether it's a non-warranty, right? And that does build trust, right? I trust that I can go out and use this gear. If something goes wrong, I can get it fixed. But really, I like that concept of trust in my gear, right? You do, especially as you start to use a piece of gear more and more, you start to really trust in the technology that's in it and
Mhm.
trust that it's going to work for you out there in the outdoors. And that sometimes allows me to bring less into the outdoors because I start to trust the things I have
Exactly.
in my systems. That's a cool concept. Well, part of what you do is talking to athletes, right, and getting
Mhm.
input from the different variables out there, folks that are using your gear. But I think for you, you mentioned earlier that it does like really begin with the athletes.
It
Um,
be, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it begins with the athletes. We also have a lot of guide agency partners. So I really like to balance when I'm taking product feedback from folks like that. I love our athlete feedback. They're usually on the cutting edge of their sport and they're really have a very focused mindset and they're trying to achieve certain objectives. And a lot of our guide partners make it more durable.
Yep.
Give me something more
Yeah.
bomber. I need this to last. I'm
If there's
beating this
something
up.
that's going to go wrong, they're going to find it.
Exactly. So I love um I love to have the balance of both of those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we're lucky enough to have actually several athletes on the team that are sponsored athletes, but are also, working mountain guides as well. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, they're out there charging after it and also giving it running through the ringers and then getting that perspective, right? That sort of realistic perspective of what can be done with gear and bringing that back to you. Uh,
Exactly.
so you have an athlete I know you work with who we've talked a little bit about
Yep.
it for this. Bryce Barnes, I believe is his last name. He
Bryce
seems like
Barnes.
an absolute crusher, first of all, and a really interesting person. I've not met him personally, but I would love to. Tell us a little bit about Bryce.
Bryce is fantastic. He lives up in Alaska. He works up there in the summer as a ice climbing and a mountain guide, and in the winter he is the snowmaking director of snowmaking at Alyeska. And
John, the image
he's
on the right here is actually from his Instagram of him after a night of snowmaking.
yeah, j- just getting crushed at the snowmaking. But he's been a fantastic addition to the team in terms of product feedback. Um, you think some folks may think of Alaska just as being covered top to bottom in snow year round, but in the summertime, he's riding on glaciers a lot of times, right? And no roads to get where he's going. So he's bushwhacking, he's human powered, hiking for miles with all of his gear, taking some some great abuse. We have a certain kit called the Boundary Ridge that he just loves, and one of the reasons he's telling us how much he loves it is he can wear those bibs, he can wear that jacket if the weather's bad, bushwhacking, climbing up, through brambles, through brush, over rock, and it really can take the abuse.
Yeah,
Um,
it is it's a cool kit that way, and like the laminates that you've selected, which go into, are really optimized for durability, but they're also going to be lightweight and breathable, so you can bring them into these conditions. You know,
yeah,
it's cool to see athlete out there just like I mean he's got to get after it for this, right? He's not using a helicopter to get into these things.
no, no, he's doing it all human powered. And the other thing that he told me, and this obviously wasn't something we designed the that kit into, but that's the Boundary Ridge kit is his go-to snowmaking kit, right? When he's out there at night getting blasted with, hard ice, and he's dealing with water to get it into the snowmaking machines, and he's getting wet, and he said nothing else that he's tried has been able to stand up to that job. And it was great to hear that the Boundary Ridge can deliver that for him.
No, it's quite a testament to the waterproofness of and durable waterproofness of that, right?
Exactly.
Those are really hard conditions. And Brendan, I see your question, and I'll definitely get into that in just a second here. I am interested in that as well. So what when you as a PLM, right? You're kind of thinking of ideally where would this product be used, right? It could be used for other conditions like snowmaking. It's not what you were designing into this
Right.
specifically. What were you thinking about with the Boundary Ridge?
With the Boundary Ridge kit, we were really aiming it at the side country user. It's a three-layer fabrication with a warm backer, and I know we're going to talk into those details in a second, but we wanted something that was, perfectly comfortable inbounds for people that are, riding normal inbounds resorts. They're also probably doing a little boot packing or a little hiking to get a few extra feet of vert. But people that are also going to be ducking the ropes or maybe taking it on just day trips into the backcountry. And we wanted durability, we wanted flexibility in terms of layering underneath it. So a three layer was really the go-to choice there. And then the warm backer fabric package that's on there, right? So Gore calls it the SST backer. It's a brushed backer on the back of the three-layer fabrication that adds a little bit of warmth, a little bit of softness to touch, a little better, softer drape to the overall fabric package. So really, that's what it was intended for.
Yeah, at Gore, we have, I'd say we have about five sort of standard issue backers. By standard issue, I mean that we use the most, right? There are a few other sort of more exotic backers out there, but we don't see them much in the industry. But, there's CNIT, which is a lightweight knit backer. There's Trico knit, which would be maybe a heavier backer. But the one you're referring to here is the SSD backer, which is a brushed polyester backer. So we actually take a knit pattern, and that material is made out of recycled content. It's also solution dyed. And then we lightly brush it. Here's a kind of oblique picture of it I took with my fabric microscope, and to break some of the fibers. And some of those fibers now will stick up. And when we run our hand down that, what that feels like is softness. And what those broken fibers do is act to create a little softness, underneath the jacket. It makes it a little bit quieter, but it gives it really that ability to trap a little bit of heat, not too much, right? It's not truly an insulating layer, but it can trap a little bit of heat in that dead air space of those sort of errant fibers. It also can act as a wicking layer to absorb moisture from the inside,
Hmm.
like your sweat, and get it up next to the membrane, which is what all the backers need to do, but this one works really well for that. And then there'll be that phase change, and then the water vapor can escape out through the membrane to the outside, especially in wintertime applications where it's very cold outside. You're going to get rapid transport through the membrane. Here's that same backer looking at it top down, and you can kind of see the knit pattern here a little better. And what you can also see though is the openness. It is not a sheet of like fleece that would really resist a lot of evaporative transport. It would lower the breathability, where instead this is very open and allows for great breathability. It's a cool technology, and it's used in many of the ski-oriented or snow-oriented pieces.
Hmm.
And Chris, you were clearly drawn to it for this particular laminate package. And then pairing that up with a 70 denier nylon face fabric made out of recycled content, that is a durable package for sure. It's anyway. I'll let you maybe talk to what you were shooting for in durability,
Yeah,
but that is.
that that
Yeah, go
was
ahead.
that was the other thing that really was drawing us to this particular fabric package was that 70D plain weave face. In our experience, we've found that smoother plain weave faces really are perform the best from an abrasion resistance standpoint. Like ripstops are fantastic if you're looking to solve, puncture or tear worries, but for straight up abrasion against things, the plain weaves seem to perform the best. So this was really a great combination of those two things, that backer package and then the 70D face. And now actually with the EPE membrane, it's actually got a little bit, it's lower mass, it's a little softer, lighter drape, which makes it a little bit lighter overall and makes it just a better drape and a softer overall package to wear.
No, it's been fun to talk with PLMs like yourself about incorporating EPE into your products. You've been playing with this stuff now for several years and kind of seeing the
Mm-hmm.
general level of psych of this new membrane technology. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool. Well, so that's the laminate package, right? But we don't just wear a laminate package on our bodies. Your designers
Yep.
design in a feature set.
Yep.
And what I love about this photo is you can see really that you have two different designers, one for men, one for women, and they envision the feature set differently. What's
Yeah.
your hardware's approach there?
Absolutely. So from a end use functionality, from a basic feature set perspective, of course we want parity because the activities are the same regardless of your
Yeah.
gender. Um, but from both from an aesthetic standpoint, but also from a ergonomic and a functionality standpoint, they needed to be different. So the men's jacket that you see here, it's got two prominent center front Napoleon chest pockets, right, for that easy access across the front of the chest. And from our female athletes and from female users, that wasn't going to fly. They said that's not the comfortable place to be able to carry things for me. I still need the pocketing. I still need cargo space. And so setting up the entire chassis of the jacket, if you will, the design to be based around chest pockets that you can access from the side.
Hmm.
Functionally, it performs better for her, and it gives it a more unique, differentiated synthetic aesthetic. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I should add that on all of these, inside of those chest pockets, in the interior pockets, there is little gear organization elements, right? Cell phone pockets, elastic bands to keep transceivers vertical and keep them from bouncing around if you are choosing to put them into a jacket, that kind of thing.
No, I mean, when I first looked at remember these images, I'm like, oh wait, it's not the same jacket, right? They're so drastically different looking from the exterior.
Hmm.
it's cool that you're able to apply that and make it optimized based on the inputs, that you're getting from the teams and from the field.
Yep.
Um, Now, is there like a feature in this jacket that you just would love folks to point out, something that you really kind of it doesn't make it, but it's just a cool little something that you fought to keep in here?
Absolutely. So in getting the feedback like we've been talking about from our snow sports athletes, from backcountry guides, et cetera, it was really a split between folks that said, I got to have a powder skirt. I need one every time I go out. Like a safety blanket. They really want to have one. And other folks that say, nope, first thing I do is get the scissors and I cut out a powder skirt every time it's in a jacket. So um, making sure that we could fit in a removable powder skirt was really important to this style. So being able to service people regardless of their preference on the powder skirt. So there is a small, very lightweight, very flexible number 3 zipper that holds the powder skirt into this jacket. And if you use it, if you like it, it's great. It's there for you. If you don't, just zip it out, leave it in a drawer at home, and no worries. Um, but we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that this jacket could serve both those folks.
Yeah, it really is a mixed sort of whether you like a powder skirt or not, especially if you're wearing a bib, maybe you don't need it,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your style. So it is cool that you have it, right? And I will say if you remove it, right, it kind of opens up a little bit of the breathability through that zone. Not super crucial zone for breathability, but it's less layers overall that allows
Exactly.
for more breathability. So you do have that
Mm-hmm.
option of, how is the weather day and what am I looking for? It's pretty slick and it's a subtle feature, but a neat thing to point out. We've got a great question from the audience here. Laura asks, when talking about denier ratings, what is considered a high denier? What is considered a low denier, right? And I'll define denier right now, and then you can kind of comment on what you think of a high versus low, right?
Yep.
What denier means is actually the weight of one of the yarns over 9 kilometers. So 70 means 70 grams over 9 kilometers. The reason it's that obscure number is because silk is defined as a one. And so silk is 9 kilometers of silk is 1 gram. And so that's where denier came from. So that it's a relative measure of the sort of size of each of those fibers in the weave, but it correlates loosely or correlates pretty tightly to overall durability, but like you mentioned, not exclusively.
Right.
When you think about denier, what do you think about as high? What do you think of low? Where does 70 fit in? What's your thought about that?
Um, it's interesting. It really is a little bit relative and a little bit contextual, right? So on an apparel jacket like we're looking at here, I'd say 70D is like probably in the mid to high denier range. If I were to say it was a 70D backpack, that'd be a super lightweight, very low denier backpack, right? Especially like one that's intended for backcountry skiing or for mountaineering, et cetera, right? But for the apparel side, we've got down jackets in the line that are 5 denier, that are 7 denier. We do our Ghost Whisperer, our best-selling down jacket is a 10 denier.
Mm-hmm.
So 70D from that perspective is a pretty solid, pretty darn durable face fabric. The other thing, like you said, it's the weight of a single yarn over that distance. The density of the weave also plays a really important factor, or is an important factor in the durability and the abrasion resistance of a garment. So we kind of have to look at all of those things.
Yeah, there's denier and then there's also mass per square meter, right? And
Right.
that's more of a mass thing. Again, not necessarily relating to the overall durability. And so these are all equations. And at Gore, we're going to have a suite of durability tests, a Martindale, which is an abrasion test. We're going to have a tear strength test. We're going to have all these other tests, and then we're going to share that information with Chris and his team to kind of get some input into like, okay, well, here's the trade-offs, right? Or here's some of the bonuses of what these particular laminate packages will get you. One of the things that happens is when you laminate our membrane to these face fabrics, it actually vastly increases the tear strength. Our membranes, just in that those two layers coming together, it's amazing how much higher the overall strength of the fabric goes up. Just by getting the two layers, you add a third into there, and boy, you got a pretty strong piece of fabric. It's kind of cool. So great question, Laura, and thanks for asking that. And then, just getting back to the initial question we had here from Brendan, kind of rolling back to what you were talking about with the lifetime warranty, right? At Gore, we have a lifetime warranty around waterproof, windproofness, and breathability, just those characteristics, right? And we'll honor that within what we consider the garment's useful life. And that means you need to wash it and dry it. You need to, take care of it. But that useful life can be quite long. What is the warranty that Mountain Hardwear has on with that as well?
Um, it's pretty similar in terms of the useful life of the garment, right? Like, it doesn't, our products, I wish they could last for hundreds of years and keep being useful for that. But like anything else, like your car or your washing machine or anything else, it does have a lifespan. Um, but it's beyond, obviously, because we're delivering an entire garment or an entire product. It's beyond just the waterproofness and the breathability, et cetera, like Gore is talking about. But it's the core functionalities of what the garment is intended to do. So some of that is waterproofness and breathability, but it's also functionality of the zippers and the pockets and the cinches and making sure that seams don't blow out, any of that kind of stuff. So all of that, of course, is covered under the warranty.
Yeah, and if you're doing a lot of your assessment right there in California, I can only imagine that you're not interested in unhappy customers, right?
Right.
You're gonna work with folks as long as they're reasonable. And again, as long as they have washed and dried their jackets, that is the number one thing you can do to extend the useful life of your garment is wash it and dry it frequently. And we're actually kind of a golden side of these new PFAS-free DWRs is folks will have that indicator it's time to wash and dry more than they used to as they wet out. Time to wash and dry the garment, restore the DWR, and then that has that hidden benefit of extending useful life of the garment. It's pretty cool.
Not only does that extend the useful life of the garment and just make it perform better, but it keeps the warranty reps happy too. And that's something you wanna have when you if you do
Yeah,
have to
right.
turn something into them.
Ooh. Right. Well, Chris, you also handled gloves, and I want to jump into gloves because Mountain Hardwear has a solid glove program with Gore-Tex. And here's three gloves and mitt, I guess, that we decided to kind of chat about a bit today. Um,
Hmm.
you know, what there's a range here, and explain to me sort of how you approach the glove philosophy.
So across the glove line at Mountain Hardware, the only waterproof, breathable technology that we use is the Gore insert technology. And we use it across all of the different, activities that we make product for, whether it's 8,000-meter mountaineering, climbing the highest peaks in the world. So in technical alpine climbing gloves, in over mitts, in down insulated Gore-Tex membrane over mitts, into the ski world. That leather glove you see in the middle, that's the Pauzilla glove. That is a $200 full leather top of the line backcountry ski kit glove. And then all the way down into what you see on either side of that is our all tracks mitt and all tracks glove, which is more of an $85 um, more resort oriented entry level product. And we found that there's just nothing that beats that durability and functionality that the Gore insert brings to us. And the beauty of the glove technology is that we can pair it with any material that we want to and still get that same performance in terms of waterproofness and breathability.
Yeah, Gore, we're specking out that this sort of the there's a sort of glove insert needs to go inside the glove. I'm just grabbing mine here to show, right? This is the glove insert. This has to fit into there, and we do spec out that it needs to go right underneath that outer fabric as a layer. But that allows you to choose whatever you want as the outer fabric, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as it passes our whole glove breathability test at the end, right? To make sure that you aren't using like polyurethane coated materials that aren't breathable. So and you aren't, but we're just double checking at our end just because our name's on it. But that's
Yep.
going to live right there. And then just underneath that board membrane, which is sewn into the exterior at the fingertips, and it's also sewn into the insulation just underneath it, so you don't get that glove inversion when you pull your hand out. And we actually have an inversion test that we do as well on every prototype to make sure they are assembled properly, and then down to that lining material if it's in there as well. So that's kind of how it works. But the Gore lives as a completely seam sealed layer just underneath that outer fabric in all of the pieces that we're talking about. But there are some differences in the way they're assembled slightly. And yeah, let's talk about Gore-Tex Plus Grip.
So the Gore Grip is a fantastic technology that we utilize in the Pauzilla glove specifically, and as well as a couple other gloves. But what that allows is it really allows to almost turn the shell, the membrane, and the lining of the glove into a three-layer lamination, right? It literally allows those three things to adhere together, and it really gives outstanding dexterity and grip into a glove. And in the Pauzilla systems glove that we are picturing here, it's actually a backcountry kit glove that I've got here. It's got a removable soft shell liner on the interior. Typically, you're going to be using this for your skin up, right? Something that you're working a little bit harder. You might not need that waterproof breathable membrane. And most of the time in these type of gloves, this is where your dexterity is, right? It's in that insert, right? Which is great. But we didn't want to have that be the exclusive sort of dexterous aspect of the glove. So by using Gore Grip, where the membrane is in the outer shell glove, we've actually got fantastic dexterity in this over shell glove too. Some days you're going to want to wear this without the liner. And even with the liner in here in the glove, we wanted to make sure we maintained that functionality. You've got to still got to, set up your bindings. You got to pull off your skins. You got to do stuff with your backpack. Sometimes it's really cold. You don't want to take those gloves off. You need that dexterity and that grip. And that's what Gore Grip allows us to do. And this glove is a fantastic testament to that.
Right, that's that kind of that upgrade into that systems glove. You get a lot more out of that, right? You get two gloves in one, really,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get a little bit more, which is that your athletes are sort of that's more like athlete driven, right? They're asking for these abilities, but for most of us, the all tracks will probably be great for inbounds. I mean, it's a full featured glove. You have that, the retention gaiter on that. Like,
Yep.
it's got a lot going on for pretty amazing price point to get into a Gore-Tex product that is going to work really well. So those are also, in the end, they're all assembled about the same. You just get more premium components and then maybe that Gore grip in the Pauzilla.
Yep. Exactly.
It's like the sun is creeping in on you there.
The side, yeah, I got it right in my face right now.
It's trying. Well, that's because you're in this beautiful office building, and let's show that real quick as we wrap up, like where you're located and where Mountain Hardwear is located. Right here in the beautiful Bay Area. This is where you work. This is where you are right now.
That is the Ford Point building on the beautiful San Francisco Bay. We are in Richmond, California, just to the east of San Francisco, just 3.5, 4 short hours away from Yosemite, from fantastic snow in Tahoe in the wintertime. But this is actually an old Ford factory that used to make Ford automobiles, and then it made a lot of wartime equipment for the Second World War. It's the home of the Rosie the Riveter Museum, and it's a fantastic, beautiful place to work right on the water. I can't complain.
No, I love that, and you're just kind of invested in this area. And Mountain Harbor has been here and just really a staple in the Bay Area, and you have been for
Hmm.
such a long time as such a reliable and great brand in the outdoor industry. It's got to be a cool place to work, and even just from the building perspective, but also from, like you said, like the teams of folks that you get to work with. Yeah, it's a cool place and really neat to see the kind of innovative products that you all are developing and bringing to market for us. So
It's
thank you.
inspiring to come to work here. I agree.
Yeah. Well, Chris, it's been fun chatting with you, and I really appreciate your time running us through a few products. Hopefully, you all have enjoyed kind of following along here and learning a bit about Mountain Hardware and where we are right here in
It,
2024.
it's been great. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time. Thanks, everybody.